Welcome to The Raw Truth. I'm your host, LD Faison. Today's show is about men cheating, and the guest that I have on today is going to blow your wigs back with 100% authentic and tell you the absolute truth about why men cheat. So stay tuned. Welcome to The Raw Truth. Today's guest, Will Reed, Brother Wesley Muhammad. We're going to talk about why men cheat. Let's get into it. Brother Will.
Yes, sir.
I know it's a difficult task for men to talk about cheating. And I know that most men don't want to get up in front of the world and tell them our truths. But today you decided to come tell your truth. And we want to hear about it. So tell me about your past relationships with the women that you were married to.
Well, let's go back kind of even before relationships, kind of how it starts. Growing up, when you grow up in a neighborhood where if the father's not in the house and you get a lot of influence from cats in the neighborhood, they tell you the definition of a man. And I think you can chime, feel free to chime in, Brother Wesley. You get that. In order to be a man, you got to have a bunch of girls. You got to quote unquote run through a bunch of girls. And so your early mindset is, quote unquote, knock down as many as you can.
Yes.
Or, the notches on the bedpost, whatever the terminology you used, it means the same thing. So you grow up with a warped mindset, to begin with. So when you get to the age of dating and, you become promiscuous without even knowing what it is.
Right, absolutely.
And so your whole mindset is never built on a monogamous relationship. It's always as many as I can, as often as I can, wherever I can, whenever I can. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
You agree with that?
I agree totally with that. As he was speaking, I was thinking in terms of the uncles that were the players, the uncles that were the pimps, the uncles that just, they glamorized the actions of, several women. So it was kind of like the culture that we were in when I was growing up, as he said, basically, you're cool. You're really the man when you got several women and you're taking advantage of them. You're mixing truth with falsehood to get them, and you're taking advantage of women, and you grow through that. And as you continue to grow through it, that's when the pain begins to start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I definitely agree with that, because one of the things that I noticed in my relationships, I didn't show much emotion. You know what I mean? My whole act was physical, right? It didn't matter who it was physical. It didn't matter who I was married to, it was physical. And you gentlemen are right. I remember in the 4th grade grabbing girls' butts and not getting whipped for it.
Yes.
I mean, y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It was like, it was champion.
Cool.
It was like, that a boy. That's my boy right there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so we don't realize the damage that is actually causing us later on in our lives, right? I remember being in the back room in California, and my father and them would be in the room watching pornos. And I'm a kid, I'm sneaking in there. I'm sneaking in the room. And at that age, I'm very impressionable, right? So everything I see, I'm taking it in. And then I'm trying to use it. Watch, nobody's teaching emotion.
Right.
No. This is all physical, right? And so when we decide to get into these relationships and we say these vows with women, we're saying, death do us part, unconditional love. I'll be there for you, good times and bad times. That's a bunch of bull crap.
Yes.
Because we're out the door as soon as something go down, right? It's interesting, because I'm going to ask you gentlemen this. Somebody asked me last week, they says, if you guys cheat on your women, a lot of women will stay around and maybe let you get away with the first one, basically, and take you back. And then the person asked me the question, if your woman cheat on you, would you stay? And immediately I said, that's a negative. Right? Now, it's interesting that I feel that way, but it's because I don't trust you.
Right.
But how much so those women who we have damaged in our relationship, and now they don't trust us. And now they go from man to man to man, not trusting them. And the crazy part about this, if I want to be honest, they probably ran into 2 or 3 guys just like us.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
It happens. And the sad part about it is, I would say more than 90% of men growing up get the same, same information we got.
That's true.
Growing up. In order to be a man, this is what you have to do.
Yes.
And so doing that, creates that mindset, and all we do is continue to perpetuate the problem.
Yes.
We perpetuate that, and the question becomes, when does the cycle break? And we don't start talking, when we have sons, we don't start that dialogue with them early enough to say, okay, this is what a real man is supposed to do. This is how your relationship is supposed to look. This is what a monogamous relationship is supposed to be. Right. So because the cycle never gets broken, it continues to repeat itself.
Do we know? I mean, do we know what a relationship's supposed to look like? I mean, nobody ever taught me that.
That's right.
Let me tell you something. My models right now is former President Obama, Michelle Obama, Stedman Graham, and Oprah Winfrey. I called a friend one day and says, what other models am I looking at?
Right.
I mean, I can sit here and tell you a story, but I'd be a lie to tell you, oh yeah, I know what a monogamous relationship looks like. I know what love looks like. I don't.
Right.
I have no idea. And I know that majority of the men don't.
Right.
I think at some point, we grow to know what it looks like, but it's hard to mimic what we know. We know to be true, because at some point, and I think Brother Brother Wesley said it a minute ago, we grow through the pain.
Yes.
And then we understand a little bit, depending on what age you stop hurting. I don't want to hurt anymore, and I don't want to hurt anybody else anymore.
Right.
And when you get to that point, that's when this is what it looks like. I don't want to step outside of this because I don't want to bring any more pain into this relationship, into this covenant that I have. I don't want to bring any more pain into that. Yes.
I'll just have to say it. I want to cut in on this particular level. I can remember that all I was interested in was the mind. I mean the behind, not the mind.
Oh, the behind.
The behind. All I was interested in was
the behind,
the
not
behind,
the mind.
not the mind. I
Right.
mean, there was a point to where if she looked it good and I was attracted to her physically, I was there, and I wasn't even interested in much conversation.
We don't care about that.
We didn't care nothing about
Why
that.
are we lying about that?
And I had to get to a point in my life to where I really started hating that.
Okay.
See, that's where after a while it began to play out, and it becomes very painful.
What age did it start being? Because look, we're in our 50s.
Yeah, sure is.
So we in the past 20,
I say
30,
38,
40.
39.
Late 30s.
Yeah,
Oh, we
late
tired.
30s.
We tired when we get old.
Right. And then I want to touch on this too, that because you when you guys was mentioning in regards to women meeting several men like us. What happens is we got to understand, and this is what it took me a long time to understand this, that there's no such thing as a no good woman, really. And if she's no good, some no good men help to make her that way.
Yes.
So then when we come after about 10 other women, 10 other men have did what they did to her, and we come and her trust level is so weak, we have a problem with that.
Yes. Absolutely. I get that. It's interesting. I was listening. Somebody asked me, what did I think about President Trump and his remark? And they called it locker room talk when he talked about the women and we can just grab them by the you-know-what, right? And somebody says, well, isn't that disgusting? I said, here's the truth of the matter. We may not use those exact words, but we need to use words like I'll smash it.
Yes.
I'll hit it.
Yes.
I'll tear the frame off of it.
Yes.
Right? All of those same words that he used, we use as well.
Yes.
Right? For the same goal, for the same mission. So when I was looking at...
But I think the difference is, while we've made comments of what we would probably do with somebody, we didn't disrespectfully go up and just start, just grabbing and groping on women, this, that, and the other, so... But, because I remember, like I said, older, when I was in college and I, became, quote unquote, the man, big man on campus, it was, girl, don't you know who I am? You know what I mean? I'm that guy, and it was, once you, like I said, you're that popular face, like me in college, like I said, big man on campus, fraternity, had an opportunity to, go play pro football. I was like one of those guys. You know, so it was, and played multiple sports in college.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. So I'm the star.
exactly.
Right.
I'm that guy.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
I'm the person you want to be with.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You may not, but I'm that guy you want. I'm that guy you want.
Yeah, I think I agree with you too on this, Wesley, because the thing happened for me is that when I cheated on my last wife, right? I've been married twice. I cheated on my last wife. For the first time, I kind of felt emotionally, I felt something, right? I remember her sitting on the curb crying, and it brought tears to my eyes because I hurt somebody who I said I love. And I got disgusted with myself. I did. I literally got disgusted with myself. And I moved, we was in North Carolina at the time, and I moved back to California. And I think that was my first time saying, I want to change, right? And I ended up writing a book called Unveiling the Mask of the Pretender. And I started telling stories in there about my life and how I pretended to be something I'm not. I talked about my tears. I talked about crying. I talked about my stepfather telling me to shut up all the time, right? And I grew up in all of this anger, right? And I was like, wow. But I felt, but I wanted to heal. And that's the reason why I kind of started The Raw Truth, right? I wanted to talk to brothers who said, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to get past this so we can start taking care of these women. Because the thing that disgusts me the most is when I hear men say, well, why men cheat? Because we can. That ain't why men cheat. I can smoke crack if I want to. I can do a whole lot of stuff, right? That's not why we cheat. That's just a reflection or reflecting, trying to get somewhere else and don't want to talk about the truth. But that's not why we cheat, right? Or blame it on the woman. That's when it becomes ridiculous.
Yes.
You know, it becomes sinister. Right. You know, if you was this, if you was that, then I'll be this. Nah, it's us.
Yes.
We're the problem.
Yes.
Right? And so we need to own up to that.
Yes.
And I remember telling a young lady, I says, you're too good of a woman for me, right? But here's the question. Think about that now.
Yes.
Okay, but what am I going to do about it?
Right.
Right? I mean, think about that.
Right.
Okay, I got that, but when am I planning on
Own up to it.
working on that?
Exactly.
Right? Y'all have the same experience?
Oh, yes, sir. I have to say, I went through similar. You know, when I finally start trying to get my mind, you know, on one woman, I had this young lady. I said, I desire for you to help me become the man that I know I should be.
Right.
You know, and so I went at it for a moment, and then what they call relapse.
Yeah, right.
And relapse, and then just went back to my thoughts and my you know, and I kind of tested what he was saying too about, you know, going through the limelight of sports. I played sports all my life and was pretty good in high school and junior high school. Very popular. So ego is way up to here, but in reality, I didn't realize it then, but I was really suffering from a level of low self-esteem.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and got it from people that always tell me, you know, when I was growing up, my parents and people telling me, you ain't gonna be nothing, you ain't gonna be nothing. So when I began to get popular and begin to like myself a little bit,
Right.
then I began to believe in my heart that I was God's gift to all men. And if you wasn't interested in it, that's your loss, and I'm keeping it moving.
Right.
That was my mindset.
Yeah. And same thing, growing up, you know, dark wasn't in, you know, being dark,
Right,
you
right.
know, growing up
Right,
as a kid. You know, I was a
right,
dark
right.
dude, man. So I'm talking about, I had girls call me ugly, you dark, you know.
Is this why you were playing sports?
No, but I was playing sports, but as a kid.
Oh,
You know,
okay,
so all
okay.
through middle school, through high school, I was popular, but I was dark.
Okay.
And then the cats that I hung out with were the light-skinned, curly hair, light brown
Right,
eye,
right.
pretty boys, you know.
I'll be
so-
sure, look.
Yeah, exactly. They were those guys.
Yeah.
And so while I was popular, everybody knew me because I was great in sports. I could dance, I could do all of those things. I didn't, quote unquote, look good. Then my freshman year of college, and I probably have told you this story before, but my freshman year of college in Reno, went to UNR, played football. All freshmen on the football team get a nickname. My nickname was Goss. They said I looked like Lou Gossett Jr. I hated it. So I got that nickname in August. Low self-esteem, I was that guy. So I got the nickname in August, Goss. And every time they call it Goss, you know, so whenever they call your name, you have to do something that emulates your name, you know, whatever it is. So like I said, all the freshmen had a nickname. Mine was Goss. I hated it. So, but every time they called my name, I had to do something. So I learned a couple lines of some of the movies that Lou Gossett Jr. was in. Like, all right, cool, okay, whatever. Come home in November, I'm at my high school sweetheart's house. I'm at her house waiting for her to get dressed, and we're getting ready to go out, and her mom had a bunch of friends over, a bunch of ladies over, and one of her mom's friends goes, Will, do you know who you look like? And I'm like, here we go with this. I'm thinking she's gonna say Michael Jordan, because at that time, a lot of people said I looked like Michael Jordan, but nobody ever said Michael Jordan looked good.
Right.
All right? No, this was like, this is 1985.
Okay.
This was my freshman year of college, November 1985, Thanksgiving break. I will never forget it. I can take you to the house up in the lakes and put everybody in position in the room, every single person that was there. But anyway, the lady goes, you know who you look like? And I'm like, no, who? She goes, Lou Gossett Jr. And one of the other lady goes, you know what, you sure do, and he fine it. All these older ladies start talking about how fine Lou Gossett Jr. was.
So that boosts your confidence.
Now I'm like, hold on, I look like somebody that look good.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years. My name is Will, but everybody call me Goss.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, the confidence. The confidence. Yeah.
And I was a totally different dude.
So you know what's interesting about this, because I have a similar story. We talk about low self-esteem, right? And you pretend to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
Right? But somewhere down the line, because I played basketball as well and played football, and the confidence comes, right? But the thing that I noticed is that, so we're operating out of pain.
And that was it.
Right? We're operating out of pain.
Yes.
And it seems like, okay, as we get older, oh, that girl, she thinks I'm attractive.
Right.
She thinks I look good, right? And whatever I can do, it ain't even about your mind, because we don't talk about that, right?
No.
So we looked at the body, the physical aspect of a woman, and then we dash in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when we dash in, we leave. Here's my question. When we get it and we leave, do we beat ourselves on the chest now? Do we think, is that we're a man now? I'm a man now. I hit it. I did it. I conquered it.
Right.
Early on, during that time period, unfortunately, that was what we were taught to do.
Right.
Because, like I said, growing up in the hood, back to where it all began, growing up, that's what it, quote unquote, was all about. I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Wow.
That's kind of it. That's kind of it in a nutshell. That it's the going after and being able to, in a sense, devour. Okay, I got it, and that's a rewarding moment for you.
Yes.
And so you do, and like he said, past. In the past, you do kind of, I'm the man.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
And she's
And your
cool.
friend, and we champion that.
Right.
Our friends are like, yeah, man. Did you hit that boy? I know you hit that. Right.
Yeah. Like
So we got a bunch of friends and a bunch of men around us. And we're everybody thinking the same way.
the same
Right.
thing, because we all got the quote unquote same education.
What happens if I say, hey, man, I ain't gonna get down like that, man. Y'all know y'all wrong. What's gonna happen to me?
We jumping on you.
Right.
Yeah, you
Because something wrong with you.
Right.
Exactly.
So I
It's
can't
like,
even
hold on.
I can't
Did
even
it-
say that our behavior is out of order.
No. And
No,
if you
no.
If you keep saying it, we're going to eventually isolate you from us.
And we
That's
go to because back then, he must be gay.
Right.
Yeah.
Just hold on, whoa,
Right.
whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Man, Cheryl, Linda, you ain't hit that yet? Man, hold on, wait a minute.
Right.
And then cats start talking, having sidebar conversations about you. Like, he must be gay.
Right.
So then you're like, hold on, wait a minute. No, I just ain't, don't want to get down like that no more. But like I said, until you grow through that pain and understand it's not all about you.
Yes.
And then you start looking at now I'm raising sons.
Yes.
Do I want my sons to, because when my two biological sons were real young, well, they was born, I was going through a divorce when my baby boy was born, going through a divorce. And it's like, okay, then I kind of started dating again, but I would never bring any females around my son. As I meet somebody, have some conversations with them, I was cautious about talking on the phone with females in front of my sons.
Yes.
I didn't bring any females around my sons, none, until I got ready to get married. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to marry this woman. Okay, it's time to introduce you to my boys. Because if my boys don't like you, all bets off. You know what I mean? And so now trying to show my sons what a healthy relationship looks like, and it's important. They see when they come around, they're with my ex-wife, but when they're with me and my wife now, they see me loving my wife. they see me involved. They see me get upset, but they see me have those conversations. They see me talk through it. They see me laugh. They see me joke. They've seen me cry with her. They see those things. They've seen me be vulnerable with her. So trying to change the mindset and let my sons know this is what a healthy relationship looks like. At the same time, having to apologize to them and explain to them what I did wrong with their mom. Mm-hmm. When I was married to their mom, I had to explain that, and still having to explain that because one son is 16, one is 11. And I've been married now for 10 years, going on 10 years. So right after my baby boy was born, got divorced and married like a year and a half, almost 2 years later. It's like, hold on, wait a minute, so all he knows is my ex-wife. I mean, my current wife has always been in his life, but he has to see a loving relationship.
Okay, hold on. We're going to hold it right there. We're going to a hard break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with the raw truth with Will Reed. Welcome back to the raw truth. As promised, we're going to have Mr. Reed finish his story. Go ahead, brother.
As I was saying, one of the things that I have to continually do until he understands is my 11-year-old is continue to explain why things didn't work between his mom and I, what I did wrong. And you said something earlier, sometimes we want to blame the woman.
Right.
But it's easy to ask for forgiveness, but that's for the other person. It's not until we take ownership and repent and say, okay, I don't want to do that anymore, then we change our own behavior.
Yes.
But I've had to continue to explain to my 11-year-old, now 11-year-old, why things didn't work, the mistakes that I made, and, it's going to be better, and you're not going to, he sees something different with my current wife. Mm-hmm. He sees a loving relationship. He doesn't see a perfect relationship. He sees a loving relationship because, once again, I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's important. Brother West, you want to chime in on that?
Well, no, not on that in particular, but just thinking in terms of, the root is being honest. It's so important to just be honest, like as he was just attesting to, and being the example, or realizing that you are example, and there's many men that are watching you, many young men that are watching you. So it's just in your neighborhood, your place of business or your place of work, that many men are watching you. So it's so important to be very honest and very transparent, and begin to realize that you are an example for men.
Yes.
Because many of us, we don't even think about that when we're in the mix of just being a cheater, just getting with women, and that's something that don't even pop in our head. Being a good example for young men.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about this is that the one thing that I've always had an issue with is that when I first got married, right? We talking about you talking to your kids. When I first got married, I thought that was gonna solve my problem. I thought, seriously, because I grew up, I kind of grew up in the church, right? And, they used to beat that scripture down your head. It's better to marry than to burn. It's better to marry than to burn. It's better to marry than to burn. And I'm 22 years old or something like that. I'm saying, okay, I need to find me a wife.
Right.
But here's the truth of the matter. If I still subscribe to that ideal of a hell, I'm still going to burn. Because I'm married and I'm cheating.
Yes.
Now I'm committing adultery.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I said, okay, I got to figure this out. I prefer to be single and let me do my work. Let me get my stuff together, right? Because the pain of hurting somebody else and not really dealing with self. And if you think about it, it doesn't matter what it is that we do, that pain comes out.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. My tone. I was listening to, I did a movie called From the Inside Looking Out, and I went back and listened to my tone, right? Mm-hmm. Subconsciously, just doing it. Why you doing this? Do this. Don't do that, right? I'm thinking, wow, right?
Who am I mad at?
Right. And so then I go to counseling. I said, okay, something ain't right. And I'm doing it subconsciously. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm planning on doing this, And so I started thinking about my upbringing. They started taking me back to that, right? And I remember they said, how did this start? How did you get this involved to the physical where you have no emotion? I talked about the porn. watching my stepfather then watch porn in the room, all the fellas. Yeah. So who's teaching me?
Exactly.
That's what they're teaching me right there,
Yes.
And so I'm watching that. Then when he goes home, when my dad goes to work, I go in the room. Back then it was a Playboy channel. That was years ago.
Yes.
And it was something, and I'm flicking the channel. I'm a little kid. I'm all in, right? Now I want to practice.
Yes.
So I don't think a woman is a queen. I think she's a piece of meat.
Exactly, physical object, that's it.
That's a physical body.
Yes.
All I want to do is get off.
Yes.
Right? But that started hurting me throughout my life.
And you don't know that it's...
Right. And I didn't really know until you start seeing the other women or the women that you're with, and you're causing this pain, right? And I think sometimes you got to sit down and you got to reflect and you got to be able to listen, right? And you got to say, I don't want to be like this no more. And the way it happened for you, it's kind of the way it happened for me. I don't want to do this no more.
Right.
I got to figure this thing out. So all the guys are around me, still talking this, I want this woman, I'm champion, and I want to get these girls, right? So I got to do something different.
Right.
I got to do something, and that's important to me.
Yes.
So when I wrote Unveiling the Mask of the Pretender, the one thing I said I was going to do, be 100% authentic.
Yes.
I was going to be transparent. Because acknowledging the thing is your first step to transformation. Acknowledging your issue.
You have to.
Yeah, and they tell you that in AA all the time. When you guys, so did you ever divorce?
Yeah,
Did
twice.
you divorce twice? Okay.
Well, yeah.
So you divorced twice?
Yes. No,
Okay.
Third time now.
Was it infidelity involved in both of those relationships?
Yeah.
That was the main reason?
Wasn't the main reason, but it was... One was we were both immature. First time we were both just immature. It was just, she was as much of a star as I was.
Oh, okay. I got
So she had her ego, I had my ego, and then I had all my, when you get married, you cannot have a bunch of single friends. I don't care who you are, what you do.
right.
You cannot have a bunch of single
No.
friends.
Right.
It's okay to have a few friends that are single, but when you get married, you can't have a bunch of single friends.
Right.
You can't have a bunch of divorced friends who are miserable.
Right.
And I got married, I wasn't young. The first time I got married, I was immature. Like I said, I just finished playing pro football, fraternity, and I was still hanging out with, quote unquote, the undergrad bros.
Yes.
And, she was a star athlete home, right? And she had her little ego, and she had her single friends, and I had my single friends, and and they were Hard Rock, that's my fraternity name. Every time something would go wrong, I go hang out with my boys. Man, she did X, Y, Z. Hard Rock, what don't she know? And I'm like, man.
Oh, yeah. So they feeding you.
Yeah, they feed me, and then her girls feeding her. And I remember I got home one night, man, we kind of got into it. And I'm like, girl, don't you know how many women would love to be where you at right now?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was that dude.
Okay, so that ego was like, paday.
And then she hit me back. She was like, do you know how many men would love to be where you at right now? Like, what? Make it happen.
My situation was this.
Wait, first, how long were you married?
I was married for 29 years.
29 years,
Yeah.
wow.
So right before the marriage, I had just came to the screeching hall of being that guy that's just picking and choosing who I desired. So I got to a level to where as it began to start paining me, as I was saying earlier, I said, man, this is just not me. I'm not liking this no more. This is not cool to be running around being a hoe. This is just not cool no more. And it really started to get to me. So I find this beautiful young lady in California, and we get married. And as time go by, hanging out with some single friends and just hanging out with some friends that were married, it creeps right back in. And then before you know it, I'm losing my mind again. And that's why I say that, throughout my marriage, it was definitely me. And through my relationships of all that wasted energy is what I see now. It really tarnished and slowed me down in life pertaining to where I believe I should be at this particular point.
Right. Oh, yeah, I get that.
And so, because that's always been a focus. That was my God.
Yeah.
This one, that one, and this one, and that one. That was my God for a moment.
Okay.
And so.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to come right back. We're going to be talking about intimacy. All right? And then that's gonna be our final segment.
Okay.
We'll be right back with the raw truth. Will, let's talk about this for a second when it comes to intimacy with women, right? A lot of the complaints is that after 3 or 4 months, then the sex slows down, right? We don't do what we used to do. You know, it's like it's old stuff now. You know, you don't want to do anything different. You don't want to turn me upside down, whatever the case may be. Why is that important, you think?
I don't know, well, from important or why does it happen? I mean, you know, so I know for me, I like to be excited all the time.
Okay.
You know, I like to be, I'm spontaneous, the excitement, all of that goes into it, and you never want that to slow down. And this is where, was it Men Are From Mars? I mean, whatever it is, yeah. Venus and Mars, we got to understand that, we're just made up differently. Mm-hmm. And what gets me excited is not going to get my wife excited. So I had to learn what quote unquote her love languages are. Mm-hmm. And it took me, we were married 10 years, and it took me 6 years to figure that out. It was like, what is my wife's love language? And as I started paying more attention to her and learning her love language, I'm able to continue to keep it fresh, because I know my wife, she'll do chocolate, she'll do candy. Okay. So me sending chocolate and sending candy to the job, right. That's fruitless. That ain't gonna get nothing. Right. Flowers, but my wife loves music. Okay. So I will shoot my wife a text message for a YouTube video or something of a song that means something to both of us, or or shoot a little text message or something like that, or I'll pop up at the job and I just want to let you know I was thinking about you today. Oh wow! Awesome. What I mean? I'll call her and say, hey, I'm close to your job. Let's go grab lunch. Things like that. Those little things are just like I said. When she wakes up in the morning, because I'm at the gym at 5 in the morning. Yes. So I shoot my wife a text message before she even gets up. Mm-hmm. So when she wakes up in the morning, first thing she sees on the phone is a text message from me. Yeah. So I think that right there is important, Brother Wesley. Because what we fail at is that in our relationship, we drift farther apart, right? You're talking about hanging out with the single guys, right? And so we're not even thinking about sending a text message like that. Right? Keeping her excited as well, right? We indulge in the things that we shouldn't be. And I think I was telling the brother the other day, I said, it's important, I think, that if we stay connected to our wives. And what I mean by that, first of all, this right here, this telephone right here, this is what we do. We turn it upside down. That's how I don't see, we already, but we already, that's all, listen. We already starting to play the game, right? I don't want you to see who texting or the phone come up, right? So we spending time doing that. I like what you said. I wake up in the morning, the first thing she sees is a text from me. Exactly. Right? And I think, because that's what this show is about, we want to talk about the raw truth, but we also want to say, this is what we do now. To heal, how do we heal? Right, this is how we heal now, right? And that's important. So I like that. I like that you say, I'll take time. I'll shoot her a text in the morning. How does she feel? And I'm curious, how does she feel, or what's the feedback when you do that with your wife? She'll respond, in a little heart or a little smiley face or something like that, So it's like, all right, cool. What I started dating all over again. Okay, all right. So she my girlfriend again. Okay, excellent. What I mean? Is that your best friend, Will, or did it take time to say, okay, I have to build this friendship again? I had to make her my best friend. Okay. Get to the point where I can be comfortable and talk to her about anything and anybody. Okay. Like I can when I call you. Right. You know what I mean? Right. You my guy. I can call you and tell you anything good, bad, or indifferent. You're not gonna judge me. Yes. And I have one or two other friends that are like that I can call. And I had to get her to understand, if you want me to be comfortable, I have to be able to tell you the good, bad, and the ugly and not be judged. So you have to know when to be my friend without me telling you, and vice versa. I had to learn when to be her friend as well. Okay. And in my industry, I'm a personal trainer. A lot of my individual clients are women. Yes. And so it's like, and from a personal trainer, 9 times out of 10, when I look at somebody, I'm looking at the body now in a different way. Okay, how can I sculpt this person? You know what I mean? So every body to me is a canvas.
Question.
You know?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So that's a great point because a lot of time men go to their workplace with no intention to be cheating, not at all, right? And they go to this workplace and all these beautiful women. So how do we handle, you brothers think, when a woman comes on to us and say, you know, I know you're married, and I done got there before. Right. I know you're married, but I don't care. It ain't got nothing to do with me. What do we do now? Because I know what we did back in the day.
Yeah, I was going to say.
How do we handle that?
Yeah, back in the day, that was the opportunity. Today, you know, I am very honest. You know, I'm not married right now, but bottom line is I'm seeing someone, and I'm very honest. You know, I'm very honest, and I see those kind of things coming off. I'm just very honest. No, I'm very happy right now, and I'm in a good place right now. You know, and you're a very nice young lady, but I'm in a good place right now, and I gotta do that with honesty, and then just move on. Because if I'm doing that and I'm looking at her and I'm constantly looking at her, then the thoughts begin to change. Before you know it, I'm back into some sick stuff again.
What do you guys think about when that happens from a woman at the workplace? I go home and tell my spouse or the woman I'm committed to. Now watch what I'm saying. Because what I'm trying to do is close that door. And I'm gonna be honest with my wife. You know, this lady at work tried to come on to me and I told her I was happy, blah, 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 right? I wonder how that will play because it seems like if I hold on to that and keep that, it's almost like a secret. I ain't gonna talk about it. But if my wife is my best friend or the young lady that I'm seeing is my best friend, I would think, be able to come home and say, you know what, honey? I told this young lady she tried to come on to me today and have a conversation with my wife. Because it seemed like that would keep us out of hot water than hoarding that stuff, right? And walking around with it. And then I'm mad at my wife today. And guess what? That thing that I never told my wife, here it come again.
Now, early I wouldn't have. Now I do.
Okay.
You know, and you know, but I gotta kind of take the temperature first because my wife got a little sister girl in her.
Oh, okay, I got
so,
you.
You know,
so she want to go up there.
Yeah. She keep a little thing of Vaseline in a hair clip. So I tell her that, and she might be like, okay. And 2 days later, she might be up there on her lunch break, taking the earrings off. You know, like, yeah, you know. But she trusts me to handle it.
Okay.
You know. Now, if it happens again, and the other part of that is, you know, I don't wear jewelry a lot. I'm wearing a ring for the show, but I don't wear jewelry. And so when I tell women I'm married, 90% of the time I don't have a ring on.
It's because you're training.
It's not, I've just never been into jewelry. I hate it. It irritates me I hate anything on my ears, my neck. I don't like it. I don't like wearing ties, none of that. You know, so I was just telling Brother West when we first got here, I'm so happy I retired from working for the feds for 23 years. I don't have to wear a tie anymore. But I tell people I'm married, well, you don't have a ring. What does that have? Ring don't mean nothing.
Right.
You know, there's a whole bunch of cats that wear rings that do what I used to do. That do
Put it in my
ring
pocket.
Exactly. You still have it on and still use.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, but I can have that conversation with her and say, okay, you know, this happened, and it's like, okay, well, don't let it happen again. And if the female continues, I'm like, look.
Then that's a problem.
Then then her and the female and I are gonna have to have a serious conversation. You know, because I have to respect my marriage. That female don't have to respect it. I have to respect my marriage. Because at one point, we didn't respect it. And so when it gets to the point where I respect it, I don't care what you do. I'm not going to disrespect what I have.
Yeah. Is there a time where, because initially I started off talking about our intimacy, is there a time where we say, the physical part is not working for me anymore?
No. I'm gonna let Brother Wesley because I don't want to.
Well, yeah, the physical part is, you know, in the relationship, the physical part always going to play a part, you know. But it got to get to a level to where it's building something.
Right.
I'm building a relationship now. I'm building an honest relationship. I'm communicating, and what you were touching on earlier, one of the things that we got to keep in mind is that we got to, number one, trust ourselves. And as we continue to trust ourselves, we're going to inspire, we pray we're going to inspire the mate the girl, the one that's in our life, or the wife, we're going to inspire her to trust, for her to trust, and to the point to where we can communicate. Because honesty, we all know honesty is the key. You know, sometimes, and one of the good things about being honest is to, from time to time, be honest even about your shortcoming of yourself. That will help to build trust, and the person begin to see that you're a very honest person, and I believe that it'll work that way, you know.
Okay. So are we talking about, so in this intimacy thing, or shouldn't we be talking about these things when we courting someone, right? Because what I noticed, just my experience, I don't want to talk about sex. Because men been talking to these women about sex for so long, I don't want to talk about sex. But I almost think that that's got to be an important part in this relationship, because if there's certain things you don't like, and there's certain things I like, and you say, I'm not, this is all and I know somebody like this right now having an issue, this the way she was in the beginning, she's still that way, and he wants to hang from the ceiling, for, you know, paraphrasing. He wants to hang from the ceiling. She doesn't want to do that. Now it's an issue. So I'm believing now, in my mind, whoever I get with, we got to have a conversation, not just about sex, but that certainly is important, right?
It's important. Else, You have to get to a point where, okay, you know what? Unfortunately, because of all of the experiences that you have before you get married and settle down, those things make up who you are. And so you know what you like and what you don't like. Right. And your mate is the same way. And so when you get with someone, you have to decide, okay, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. What can I do without if she is not into what I'm into? What can I do without? Because there are some things sexually that is going to make or break a relationship.
Yes.
You know, just point blank. Okay, well, if I can do without this as long as I get this. You know what I mean? And you know, whatever that this is, you know, because if you really gotta have something and your mate ain't bringing that to the table, you're gonna go get it.
Yes.
You know,
I think that's why I'm driving at. Yes.
Exactly. So you have to have those conversations, but then you also have to understand, and like I said, what can you do without? Because I had to get to that, you know, with my wife now, I had to get to that point, and then, you know, and you have to also look at the long term. We're not getting married for just right now.
Right.
We getting married for 10 years, 15 years, and, you know, and further down the line. And as we change and as their bodies change and they go through, you know, different things, you know, things are going to happen. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do that no more. I don't like that no more. It's like, okay, well, can I still deal without that? Can I do without that? The frequency isn't there anymore. It's like, okay, hold on, wait a minute, you know. And one of the things that I used to do from the frequency standpoint was turn to the Bible. I tried to use the Bible to justify me. You know,
look, I got both hands raised.
Exactly. Because you know, because there is scripture that says, you know, and not the exact word, but scripture says, you know, husbands and wives don't keep yourselves from each other except during times of, you know, during that time or periods of fasting and consecration, but then you come back together or else you leave room for the enemy. So I tried to use that as my, well, you didn't, you know, it was 3 weeks, it was 4 weeks. You know.
That thing only lasts for 5 days. This we in the third week. I'm confused.
Like, we only fasted for a week. I won't buy him like.
But it's funny that you say that, but I wonder though, Will and Wesley, I wonder though, is that two people have to be a part of this. Right? Because now you know I'm still a man. And you know the time is over. And I need to take care of my man. Right? And I wonder is that some of the conversation. But listen, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for coming on The Raw Truth. It's been 100% authentic.
We got to have a part 2, man.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have that conversation. So I appreciate you guys for coming on.
Thank you.